Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about CDLs and how they're issued, or more specifically, we will talk about this whole term of a CDL mill, what it means, how it came to be, and what is the effect on the trucking industry. And then we'll talk about a proposed solution that someone offered. Ready? Let's go. So let's go back in time. On February 7th of 2022, the FMCSA launched what it called the Training Provider Registry. Now, in the news release, the FMCSA stated that this online database aims to improve highway safety, and then they listed a few reasons as to why. Number one, they wanted to maintain the list of registered training providers that have self-certified, they meet federal training requirements, and number two, retaining a record of all individuals who have completed the required entry-level driver training. Now, while the goal was highway safety, there was a very big issue with this. And the issue was the fact that now the FMCSA allowed training providers to self-certify. Before February of 2022, CDL schools did not have a federally standardized certification process of the ELDT, the entry-level driver training. Instead, those rules, those regulations of how CDL schools were to train were established by the states. But because of the individuality of every state, there were wide variations in how training was done across the country. Now, according to FreightWaves, this regulatory shift that happened on February 7th of 2022 created two separate avenues as to how a driver could get his or her CDL license. Number one, there was always the option of the traditional path, and I quote, attending one of approximately 2,100 properly state-licensed CDL schools that provide comprehensive training programs. The second option was the deregulated path. As FreightWave stated, receiving minimal training from one of the over 32,000 self-registered training providers in the federal registry. Now, the issue was simple. The traditionally certified CDL schools, they had more rigorous training to get your CDL than those that were self-certified, which created the term CDL mill. So what exactly is a CDL mill? Well, it is a term that is used to refer to a CDL school that has kind of minimal or inadequate training to get drivers their CDLs, or even just to get them through the testing process. This is when CDL schools kind of start prioritizing profit over quality, and they often exploit some loopholes that exist in order to rapidly process students with a focus on quick certification rather than real-world skills. Now, in this FreightWaves article, Steve Gold, the founder of 160 Driving Academy, which is a legitimate CDL school providing 160 hours of training, he stated, and I quote this, "The feds come in, they create this self-certification database, and you can register to be a CDL trainer at the federal level. And employers, if you're an employer, you're exempt. You don't have to be licensed in the state. So there's 32,000 registered federal training providers who can provide trainings for a CDL. Now, what's even more concerning is the fact that there's really no legitimate oversight when it comes to these CDL schools that are self-certified. Literally, you just promise that you're going to do what you're supposed to do, and the government says, okay, sounds good to me." According to FreightWaves, some states even abandoned their licensing standards, like Indiana, for example, which eliminated state oversight of truck driver training after this new registry was implemented. What was the result? Well, I'm going to quote this. According to the National Highway Safety Administration, 2023 saw 153,472 highway truck accidents, resulting in 5,472 fatalities, a shocking 40% increase from 2014 levels. Similar fatality levels continued into 2024. So what could be done about the fact that there are these CDL mills? Well, Well, there was an idea presented by Tab Katicha, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. He's a DOT safety consultant with 23 years of industry experience. And at the core of his idea is the centralization of CDL issuance under the Department of Transportation, basically transferring the ability to issue CDLs from the state level to a federal level, and where the Department of Transportation is the only one that can issue a CDL. Now, I'm going to attach the article link down below if you're interested in reading the exact proposal, but the goal of it is literally to, first of all, remove inconsistencies that happen from state to state when it comes to issuing CDLs, to remove any possibility of fraud, and of course, to simplify the process. Now, something I have realized since the latest round of news started coming out, and when I say the latest round, I'm talking about since September, middle of September, a lot of news about non-domiciled CDLs, CDLs in general, fraud in the industry, and so on and so forth. And I understand that those news are politically charged at the core. So there are two avenues that people usually take, at least from the observation I have made. Number one, there's a group of people that will point a finger at an individual and say it's all their fault. Number two is a group of people that points the finger at the system and says, well, the system allowed this to happen. The one thing that I have understood through my research is that the system is so inefficient and broken that it allowed unqualified, undertrained drivers on the road, and partially because of these CDL mills that prioritize profit over quality. And of course, I am not going to stop myself from making this dig again. The ATA's hands are not clean in this. As FreightWave stated, industry lobbying initially contributed to the deregulation of driver training requirements based on claims of a perpetual driver shortage. So when this article came out about the proposed solution, there are a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions. So I'm curious to hear yours. What do you think about a centralized solution when it comes to issuing CDLs? Wishing you all a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.